What's popping, guys? This is our third attempt for the people who's new. For people watching this on replay, hopefully this title works. I think they messed with me on purpose. First, they said it was a copyright. Then they said I was promoting suicide simply for reporting what the corporate media is reporting. Oh my God. Let's see if I can find the headline. So apparently, look, this is what The Hill, or Political, one of the mainstream websites, this is what they are reporting. You guys see the title? Come on, man. Come on. You can't tell me not because that 10-minute fire rant I was delivering. I just gotta prevent for. I can't even report on this story. You guys tell me they're not doing this on purpose, so we can't report on this story. There's zero chance that they don't understand what I am doing right now. I am reporting on this story. Let me pull up a Western media headline. Look, this is from Reuters. And they say I was promoting suicide by having this title in it. There is no way that this is a coincidence. After those 10 minutes, I gave you guys like 15 minutes. The first stream got cut out in 5 minutes. The second stream got cut out in 10 minutes. God damn it, man. We kind of screwed though, because I tweeted out the old links. I had to tweet this bitch out again, man. Oh well. We're fucked. It was taken down twice. Trying again. All right. Show must go on. If we get taken down again, I'm done for today. I changed the S word in the title to deceased. What's popping, kid? Big shout out to Heartlands Media. They going through a lot as well. I need to find a link to share. We need to support Heartlands Media. Yeah, Sabby, I know. Sabby telling me now. I know. I changed the title to deceased. I just think it's weird we can't use the headline used by corporate media here. But I want to get back on track. Damn, man. Those 15 minutes were so fire. Those 15 minutes so fire. So this is what I'm gonna do. Because I'm completely messed up because of what happened. I'm gonna play my hotspot videos again to intro this. Because I don't think the hotspot videos was the problem. I'm not gonna play the EU one. Yeah, I'm gonna play this one because it's gone. I know some of you guys seen the intro before, but this is for the people who gonna watch the replay. You know what I mean? Most people watch the replay. So for the sake of the replay, I'm gonna start from here. Then I'm gonna begin my Israel segment, and then we'll get to EPSTEIN here soon. And I hope they don't take us down. I think it's nonsense. I think they know what I was doing, but it's whatever. I think they could just demonetize. Usually they just demonetize you. Why didn't you just demonetize me? Anyway, it's what
Germany.
Let me watch the video and let me get myself together, and then we get started again.
Germany has descended into full-blown Zio-fascism as they criminalize any dissent against Israel and Germany's support of their genocide of the Palestinians. They just recently arrested and indicted an activist who simply posted a message saying that, have we learned anything from the Holocaust? Germany claims that they was inciting racial hatred for comparing what Israel is doing to Nazi Germany. Meanwhile, people wonder why I root for Russia and China against the bloodthirsty Zionist thugs in Europe. It has always rubbed me the wrong way that it's Germany that is responsible for carrying out the Holocaust, but it's the Palestinians that are suffering because what Germany has done. If they really wanted a Jewish state, they should have took Germany instead. There would really be no difference anyway. Germany provides the second most weapons of death to Israel, second only to the United States. Germany is even discussing the idea of revoking citizenship from people who are supportive of the Palestinian struggle. Germany and Europe is completely cooked. They are ran by warmongering thugs who want to turn the average European into just a mindless slave of Israel.
What's poppin', my friend? So this is the intro video I started with, and I went on to explain the reason why we're seeing the West descend into full-blown Zio-fascism is because I have never seen things this bleak for Israel. So you have these things that they call rights. As long as you're not a threat to the empire, as long as you're not a threat to the establishment, they're arresting people for writing pro-Palestine op-eds. They're attacking institutions that even allow people to exist if they support a free Palestine. In Germany, they are revoking citizenship, as I explained. The West, they would love to project the idea. They would love to project the idea that they believe in freedom, liberty, the right to dissent. But if things ever got bleak, they wouldn't mind sending a powerful message like they are doing now when they said this Jeffrey Epstein Accuser unalived herself. I think that's what the kids say to avoid TikTok censorship. She unalived herself, right? And I'm sorry if you heard my first rant on this, but I explained on my first stream that, and I think this is one of the reasons why they got pissed and they took me down. The idea that this lady who said that she was not suicidal, was very dedicated to the cause. I don't want to get too far into it. I'm going to cover this here soon. She was not suicidal, and then she committed suicide after she was hit by a bus, and she survived way longer than they thought. She was about to make a recovery. Then they said she unalived herself, even though she wasn't suicidal. They don't say that because they expect you to believe it. In the same way, they don't say that there's an anti-Semitism hoax because they expect you to believe it. They say it to send a message to people that they can kill you and they will get away with it. Not only will they kill you, they will then smear you. They will smear you and say you're mentally ill, that you suffer from mental illness, and you're depressed. That's this here. And the last thing I said, I explained before they cut my stream off. I'm mad, dude. That first 10-minute rant was crazy. But I explained that this is a cryptic message by the establishment. They know that smart people would not believe this bullshit story. But if you're a slack-jawed, bootlicking, low IQ moron who legitimately believes that these whistleblowers suddenly get depressed, that whistleblowers somehow have a higher mortality rate than the average population, and that's just a coincidence. If you're so dumb that you believe in the official narrative, you're not a threat to them anyway. You believe whatever they say, whatever the CIA says, whatever the corporate media says, you believe it to be true. You're not a fucking threat. So they will tell you some dumb shit like this person killed himself. They will tell you some dumb shit like Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. And you will just believe it. You're not a threat. But if you're smart enough to understand that these stories don't make sense at face value, that the anti-Semitism hoax doesn't make sense at face value, they're sending a message that we are not trying to convince you. You better play along or you're next. But we are going to get to that soon. Regarding, I think these two things are related. That's why I bring up both of them. I bring up both of them because I believe this Zio-fascism is related. Because the reason why you see these batshit crazy headlines like this one, Harvard is an Islamist outpost. People saw my first stream saw this. But the reason why they are advocating and pushing this anti-Semitism hoax is because the people who are bootlickers who won't question genocide, they don't give a fuck. They can go about their life. But if you actually want to rebel, you're a threat, and they will go after your free speech rights. They'll crack down on dissent. They're arresting people for writing op-ed. Like, it's literally crazy what we're seeing. Don't feel bad for Harvard, because even though Harvard is taking a lot of attack from the Zionist lobby, they are the ones who set this up in the first place. They are the ones who conceded the idea that the anti-Semitism hoax was real, and Harvard is getting exactly what they deserved. Because if you give a Zionist an inch, they're going to take a mile. So Harvard got rid of Claudine Gay. They accepted the Zionist premise that if you accept freedom of expression against the Israeli state, that's anti-Semitic. So they fired, and they made all these reforms. They went after pro-Palestinian groups. So after conceding to the Zionists are continuing to take more. Donald Trump is taking more. You guys see what happened when you concede to these people? Now I'm gonna get to my oh shit. This is I just found the video I was looking for. By the way, to illustrate how much our media is controlled and ran by Zionists, something that they will call you anti-Semitic for saying. My entire life, they brainwash Gen X and boomers. If you bring up shit like Hollywood is ran by Zionists, they'll say, oh my God, you're anti-Semite. Now we all know that's fucking fact. Whenever they call you anti-Semite for some shit, that means you flying too close to the sun. You got Gal Gadot, the worst actress of all time, getting all these movie roles because she was a member of the IDF when they invaded Lebanon, and she directly committed war crimes for the IDF. She was a member of the IDF when they invaded Lebanon in 2006. Gal Gadot is a war criminal, but she gets rewarded for it. So if you mention that, if you acknowledge that before, they're like, oh my God, what are you saying? Jews control Hollywood? No, the Christian Zionists do. The Zionists do. I'm glad that our stream recovery, I'm trying to make sure we're still live. I got PTSD. We got 250 people watching. We only 10 minutes in. I'm glad that everyone came back. X is popping too. I think we got like 300 people on X as well. But this is the person who wrote this article, and this is the person that they're the kind of people they allow to write in the Wall Street Journal.
Our job is not to make you look good, American Jews. What do you have to worry about? Your job is to make us look good. And here's how you do it. Every one of us has to serve 3 years in the Army, 2 years in the Army, some of us 5 years, and then for the rest of our lives, you have got to serve 2 or 3 years in the army of words. You've got to learn to fight the political battle.
What she is calling for, this is the person, we reported on this a while ago. She is saying that every single Jewish person that is living outside of Israel, not only should you serve the IDF and the army, and if you're not able to do that, even if you're later in your later years, you need to be spreading propaganda for the Zionist genocidal regime. And this person here may sound crazy, but this is what the average Zionist believes. Anyway, let me continue. This is a person that is given a voice in the mainstream media.
Serve 2 or 3 years in the army of words. You've got to learn to fight the political battle, which is even more important at this point than the military battle that we are. We'll fight the military battle. We're not asking you necessarily to come and be lone soldiers, although some of you can. You've got to learn how to fight back on the campuses, how to make the arguments. Now, they keep shifting. You know, the ground keeps shifting under us. They keep changing the language. Intersectionality wasn't even a word 10 years ago. Now suddenly it's intersectionality. You've got to stay on top of it. And you know how we train for the army? We don't train for defensive warfare. If the war against Israel ever had to be fought on Israeli soil, do I have to tell you? It's an impossibility. So it's the same thing. Don't let the war of words ever be fought.
How can you? I have come to the conclusion. This is why I cover these stories a lot. I've been covering Israel and Zionism ever since I started as a citizen journalist 5 years ago. I explained that Zionism is the fight of our lifetimes. The Zionists control people like Tim Pool, and many people say, "Oh my God, you guys are too obsessed with Israel." How can you be too obsessed over a group of capitalists, a settler colonial supporting capitalists who have hijacked your media? They don't only hijack your political system, they fundraise so the most corrupt, evil motherfuckers in society can stay in office forever. People like Nancy Pelosi stay in office forever because of AIPAC and because of Zionist lobby. Mitch McConnell stays in there forever. So what happens is we have Zionists who not only corrupt our politics, not only fight against our free speech, they bankroll the most corrupt, evil politicians. They don't do shit for the American people. Not only do they commit war crimes, which is alone a deal maker, a deal ender, they corrupted our society. They gave us a corrupted Congress. And whenever someone gets in and they are slightly critical of Israel, you see millions get poured into elections, which is, by the way, before I continue the video, you guys realize that's another sign of weakness by AIPAC and Zionists. You guys know they was bragging about the fact that they got rid of people that we're not friends of, we're not fans of, but they was bragging that they got rid of Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman. Remember? Oh my God. See, this is what happened when you oppose Israel. We will win. We will get rid of you. This is our strength. No, that's a weakness. Guys, never before have the Israeli lobby been forced to spend millions of dollars trying to get Republicans like Thomas Massey out of Congress. Never before did they have to spend money trying to get Cori Bush's out, Jamal Bowman's out. They had an ironclad grip on power. They had complete control of public sentiment to the point where they could stay behind the scenes. The fact that they have to do this is evidence that Zionism is in shambles, and that is the theme of this statement. I want you guys to keep keep focus on that, because that's what I'm getting at. But let's continue with her, and I will explain the reason why they have to push back on free speech, the reason why Germany had to send into a Zionist hellhole, the reason why the UK descended into a Zionist hellhole, the reason why Canada is, the reason why they are cracking down on free speech, going after Harvard, going after these people, escalating the police state to defend Israel, and because things are going bad for the Israeli lobby. We'll get to that here very soon. For Israel as a settler colonial society, it's going bad. We're going to cover that here very soon.
It's an impossibility. So it's the same thing. Don't let the war of words ever be fought about Israel's nature. Let it be fought about why you can't accept Israel, why you have to single out this tiny people. Try to find Israel on the map. It's hardly there.
This is a favorite argument they use when they're in shambles. Why do you call out Israel? Why are you calling out the only Jewish state? What other country is corrupting our politicians? And they have what other country has a lobby that openly brags about going 40 for 40? They had a tweet I showed on the show before where they was like, man, 40 out of the 40 people that we endorsed in this election won. So not only do we focus on Israel because they have corrupted our politics and our society, we focus on them because they are committing war crimes with our taxpayer money. What kind of fascism is it that I have to be forced to accept the idea of a religious ethno-state? I don't support religious ethno-states. I don't believe in your wacky holy land. You know what I mean? So you guys are forcing that idea on us, and you wonder why we are critical of you? Now, I don't have the right to claim whether a state exists or not. A state exists on whether they have the support of their people, so they have people power, or you can create a settler apartheid state where might makes right. And if you look at human history, that's the majority of human history, where many states had a might make right mentality, and that is what legitimized their way to exist. Because whether we like it or not, if you have the ability to defend yourself, and if you have the ability to have a secure state, whether the people like it or not, doesn't really matter. You have a state. See, that's where we come in with Israel. Because Israel, you won't exist without us. Israel does not exist without the UK. Israel does not exist without Germany. So if you have the ability to exist as a state without our taxpayer money, then I guess I have less of a say. But I have hell of a say, and the reason why I advocate for a one-state solution is because our taxpayer money, instead of us paying for healthcare for our people, which they have in Israel, because we have corrupt politicians who believe that if we have healthcare in our society, that's socialism. But they are 100% okay with healthcare in Israel. Do you guys see the level of traitors that was elevated by the Zionist lobby? But I'll play most of what I don't want to listen to anymore for. I think we see how crazy she is. This is the person who the Wall Street Journal is allowing. I mean, this is not surprising to us, but they're allowing her to write these crazy batshit headlines. Like Harvard is an Islamic outpost. Our entire media is Zionist controlled. The CNN, BBC, they 100% accepted the fact that they can't get footage and they can't report on anything coming out of Gaza without Israel's permission. Look it up. Israel edits and they look over every single thing that CNN and BBC puts out of Gaza. That's why whenever there is an Israeli war crime, like for example, the assassination of the ambulance workers, instead of reporting the fact that Israel murdered these people, they will say ambulance workers died. Hamas says they was targeted by Israel. Israel says it was an accident. So they are forced to repeat the Israeli narrative. They never will write a headline that says Israel is lying. They murdered paramedics. They bombed hospitals. They always say Hamas claims. Israel says Hamas claims. That's because our media is owned and operated by the Zionist lobby. And before that would get called you would get called an anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist for that. But now, seeing that they allowed this person that said that all Jews should be spies for Israel, that's what she said there. She is the person that they're allowed to write opinion papers in the Wall Street Journal. They're the ones who are calling for the end of free speech in the United States because they're seeing public sentiment turn against Israel. We're seeing for the first time the majority of the American people, they're rooting against Israel in this war. You have these Cope headlines. Let me see if I can find it here. Well, there was like half of young people. I think this is it here. Yeah, look at this. I said Gen Z is so based, so proud of my young comrade. This is from the Jewish Chronicle, by the way, which I think is hilarious. Nearly half of young Americans support Hamas. The number of 18 to 24-year-olds supporting the terrorist group against Israel has jumped over the past year. Now, this is propaganda on many, many different levels. Because for one, supporting the right that is legally enshrined in international law for Palestinian self-resistance against the Israeli state, that does not inherently make you a Hamas supporter. So why do genocidal Zionists, why do they get to say that Israel has the right to defend themselves? Have you guys ever seen their response whenever the question is flipped back on them? So if you hate Hamas, if you smear people at Hamas, so do you believe that Palestinians have the right to defend themselves? Whenever they ask that question, the answer is no, because they don't view Palestinians as humans. They don't want Palestinians to have the right enshrined to them by international law. Israelis are illegal, genocidal settler colonialists who got that land because of the British mandate. Which is why India, which is a pathetic, cut, terrorist nation, imagine you're an Indian Zionist, and there are a lot of them. Imagine you're an African Zionist, which there are not a lot of. But India is ran by Zionists. The Hindus, Like, these motherfuckers love Zionism. Imagine the British Empire, which is responsible for the death of billions, they're responsible for stealing trillions of wealth. Imagine you as an Indian. Imagine you as a black person. Imagine you as someone in the global South who's a victim of the British Empire. Their disgusting, evil claws touch almost all of humanity. Why would you support Israel, which came from one of the most evil scourges in modern human history, British colonialism? That's why when you hear a lot of these Zionist fake leftists, they'll say, well, Zionism is a liberation movement. How the fuck can you say you're a liberation movement when you got your lands by British colonialism and you can't defend yourself without taxpayer money from the United States, from Germany, from Italy? So Zionism is inherently a failed ideology, because the idea of Zionism is that we're going to have self-determination of the Jewish people. You don't have self-determination if you're not the idea of Zionism was self-determination and the ability for the Jewish people to defend ourselves. We're going to have that. That's not what they have. They're relying on us. So Zionism didn't even accomplish their primary fraudulent goal. Another goal they had was to make Jewish people more safe. Meanwhile, Jewish people are like, oh my God, I never felt more unsafe. That's a failure of Zionism. Israel inherently makes Jewish people unsafe because they're batshit terrorist, crazy ideology, and the fact that Zionists go after Jews more than anyone else does. They attack Jewish people more than anyone else. The Jewish people speaking out against Israeli fascism. I don't know the exact number. I heard I'm gonna say how many there's like a large amount of Harvard Jewish people. 10% of Harvard is Jewish, according to my AI Google quick fact check. Many of these Jewish people are joining the Palestinians in protesting the Israeli state. And the Trump administration, the same with the Biden administration, are smearing the peace-loving Jewish people. So you have Trump, who is a fake Christian. You had Joe Biden, who was a Catholic. They were smearing people like Jewish Voice for Peace for criticizing Israeli foreign policy. So think about how unbelievably anti-Semitic that is. Where you have a Catholic calling peace-loving Jewish people anti-Semitic and self-hating Jews. That's the implication, because they oppose Christians supplying bombs to fascist Jewish people who then bomb Muslims and Christians, because many Palestinians are Christians. So the Jewish people who oppose the Muslims and the Christians being bombed by the fascist Jews and the Christians, they are somehow anti-Semitic. Do you guys understand how intellectually bankrupt Zionism is? And why there is no intellectual, legal, or moral basis to defend it? And that's why they're advocating for this censorship. And I finally got back to it, because I was talking about this before my first stream got taken down. Now let me get back to this again, because I really do want to make this point for this stream. I'm sorry if you saw this before, but this is for the people who watch it now, and for the people, most of the people who watch on replay. I explained this a little earlier, the first stream. The reason why they are cracking down on free speech the way that they are is because the Zionist lobby is in shambles. They lost they lost the entire generation. They lost the entire world. The entire world was already for Palestine. Now it's even worse. Not only that, but what they won't tell you in the corporate media is how Israel is in complete shambles, and it is an unstable settler colonial state right now. You have many of the young people in Israel that are battered, bruised, mentally scarred, and not participating in the economy. You have many Israelis because they don't have the attachment. Imagine claiming that you are so attached to your Holy Land. Meanwhile, there are hundreds of thousands of them. This is an old article. But it's a real problem. Let's see if I can find another headline because I covered this in my hotspot. But it's a real problem with Israelis fleeing Israel because shit is getting real. Shit is getting too real. So Israelis are fleeing, which is a big hit to their economy. So young people not in the market, they're not working because they're currently fighting and committing genocide on behalf of the IDF. Then there are many of them that are coming back in body bags. There are many of them coming back and they have to go through therapy and trauma. There's an article that I read a long time ago in Haaretz, because Haaretz actually reports on stuff you would never see in the West, where they explain the mental toll and how many Israelis are going through therapy because they got to cope with the fact that they're genocidal monsters. So an entire generation is wounded, fighting war, mentally scarred. Many of them also left. Who are the kind of people who can just leave and have a second passport, have a second house? The people who usually have money, right? Those people are leaving Israel. The youngest people are scarred. And now you got another way. They're preparing for further conflict. Another wave of Israeli soldiers are going to have to serve too. So this is not ending anytime now. This is why Israel is protesting against Netanyahu, because of how horrific. They're not opposed to the war. They understand that Netanyahu lost. He is destroying Israeli society. Now, all of this has led to this headline. And guys, it's even worse now because this is July of last year. As of July of last year, you had 60,000 Israeli businesses that was closing. The number is way higher now. I don't know how to say it, but I really gotta find it. I really want to find this article. Jewish people fleeing Israel. Oh, there it is. I found it. There it is. I didn't have to say it. I covered this before. I did a hotspot video on this before. This was reported last month. Israelis moving to live in Europe, rejuvenating Jewish communities. Isn't that interesting how Israelis can just easily move to Europe? So whenever we say to the river, to the sea, Palestine will be free, they will say stuff like, oh my God, you guys are advocating for genocide. No, we're not. We are telling your stupid ass to go back home to Europe, like many Israelis are doing now. Remember, you didn't flee the Middle East. You motherfuckers fled Europe to live among Palestinians, and then you guys say you feel safe among Muslims, even though it was Germany who committed the Holocaust. That was the greatest heist of all time, the greatest con ever committed on humanity, where Germany commits the Holocaust, but somehow the blame gets shifted on Palestinians and Muslims. Why the Israelis, they feel safe in Germany, but not among the people who safe harbored Jewish people? Like the Palestinians have done? Like Arabs have done in the Middle East? So they're like, oh my God, you say you calling for genocide? No, I'm calling for you to go home. And the people who are really, because there are Arab Israelis, if you are Arab, you can live among your Palestinian brothers and sisters who are okay with their fellow Christians living next to them, their fellow Muslims living next to them. The reason why they're scared of a one-state solution is because they know they're war criminals. And why should war criminals be rehabilitated? I am a believer of the one-state solution where everyone has the equal rights under the law, but Israelis will serve, or not serve not the right term. They would have to go on trial for war crimes. That's the reality of the situation. And guess what? There are many Israelis that went to prison because they refused to serve the IDF. Those are the people who will be welcomed into the one state of Palestine. And you know that sentiment against Israel is turning because you never, like I put out these tweets talking about why we should support the one-state solution. Like this is the only real solution, guys, by the way. You don't solve apartheid by creating two unequal states, one that's armed to the teeth by genocidal monsters. We solve South African apartheid by having one state. One state is the way to go. So I explain, and this is what many people finally understand, Fuck the two-state solution. All the homies hate the two-state solution. Free Palestine to the river for the sea. And if you boycotted, joined the IDF, you went to prison, you will be welcome with open arms in the state of Palestine. But the reason why Israelis don't want this to happen because me and the motherfuckers committed war crimes. And why should they be immune after they committed? So once we have one state of Palestine, your ass go on fucking trial for war crimes. And everyone who's not guilty of war crimes, you can live in Palestine. Everyone else, take your ass back to Europe. Let's go back to my original point. This is why they are mad. This is why we are seeing it. And there are a lot of people who do these stories, and it's nothing but doomerism. And I don't blame them. I'm not doom shaming people. There's nothing wrong with having a doomer mentality right now. But there are people who are just wondering why they're doing this anti-Semitism crackdown. I think it's very important for us to bring this up. The resistance, even though they've taken a lot of losses, have been extremely successful at their goal of destabilizing the Zionist regime. There is massive international support. Majority in the UN is only blocked by the United States, Israel, and Ukraine. Maybe Germany and the UK, I don't remember. I can see them going against it. But you guys know the majority of the UN, by a wide margin, the global majority supports Palestinian statehood. Before October 7th, the Palestinian statehood was not a reality. Now you have a majority of Americans who support Palestinian statehood. Now the UN want to put Palestinian statehood on the table. Russia and China, who has been too weak on this issue, have been strong advocates of Palestinian statehood, and it may hurt Western feelings, but that was not the reality before October 7th. October 7th forced the hands of the international community once the Palestinians decided to engage in the heroic prison break, jailbreak that they did. October 7th, the greatest act of resistance of all time. It directly led to the destabilization of the Israeli economy. It activated Yemen's and Ansar Allah's blockade of the Red Sea. Which is no one is talking about the fact that Donald Trump lost the war against Yemen. You gotta know the Red Sea is still closed. And Ansar Allah has shot down multiple $10 million plus cost drones. They've taken out U.S. ships, 4 months of bombing, and they still have the Red Sea that is closed, which is directly leading to this. This is a giant problem, guys. So I don't want to do just doom ranting. You know what I mean? And I think it's an insult to the resistance fighters to not acknowledge what they accomplished. You can be sad because, don't get me wrong, the resistance have lost a lot. The genocide have changed me and changed us forever. But they have to commit war crimes in order to cover up their tactical defeat. The reason why they're committing war crimes, they are bombing hospitals in Yemen, they're bombing mosques in Yemen, they're killing civilians, not taking out military capacity, they're killing civilians in Yemen because they cannot defeat and strategically defeat the resistance and stop what they were trying to do, which is the blockade in the Red Sea. Remember what I have explained many times before. The United States and the West, they don't win wars. They commit massive atrocities, and they think those atrocities means that they're winning. The atrocities they're committing in Yemen is not evidence that they're winning. In fact, I'm gonna see if I can find this. Oh, here it is. Look at this. I actually did cover this in Hotspot. You guys know we're putting out banger after banger. We're blocked in this article, but it says U.S. strikes in Yemen, burning through munitions with limited success. That's what the full article says. And the New York Times explains how we're spending a insane amount of money, which is unsustainable in Yemen. Like the amount of money we're wasting in Yemen while not degrading Yemen military capacity. It's a complete strategic loss. And that's why we're seeing the panic, the anti-Semitism hoax, them cracking down on free speech. This is why we're seeing many of the white boys that we're talking about turning against Israel. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to be on the losing side. A lot of these people, like Dave Smith, who I will admit that he is doing a good job taking down Zionists, but guys, remember, Dave Smith is also the guy who condemns Hamas. And I will continue to hold these people feet to the fire on Hamas. Because how can you say you're a Second Amendment supporter, but you don't support the Palestinian resisting tyranny? How can you, as Dave Smith, acknowledge that Israel is a terrorist army, but don't support Palestinians who resist them? That's why people like Dave Smith annoys me, because I don't think you're good on this issue if you condemn Palestinian resistance. There's a reason why they platform him, guys. But the reason why they're losing him, the reason why they're losing many of these right-wing influencers is because at the end of the day, they don't want to be on the losing side. And Israel is losing. I want to show this. I'm going too long. I need to get to the Jeffrey Epstein story, which is related. But I also have this in the title as well, which also highlights the ridiculousness of the anti-Semitism hoax. And I've seen so many of these videos of Arabs, anyone who's like wearing a headscarf of some kind that look Muslim-y. Like if you look like a Muslim and these Zionists attack them. These Zionists, I saw this video. I don't have it saved. I could find it pretty quickly. Their video of this Zionist Jew rat motherfucker. He was looking at this, I'm assuming as a Muslim woman, and he was saying that she wants her to get raped. That's another common thing you hear these rats say. There was this Zionist Jew rat woman who was yelling at a Palestinian and saying that she hoped that she get raped by Hamas. They were detestable people. But let me read the super chat and now play the video of the Zionist mob chanting death to Arabs. Anyway, let me read the super chat. Thank you, Mark. Here, Nick, they blacked out this live broadcast for a moment, but then restored it. Yeah, if you guys are watching Nuka, most people watch the replay. So if you're watching the replay, if you don't know, I had my stream. I had like 2 streams pulled, attempting to cover the Jeffrey Epstein story. They got upset because I accurately described what the mainstream media is reporting on. Isn't that interesting? So this is like my 3rd attempt for the people who are just now watching. This is my 3rd attempt to cover this shit. We're 40 minutes in, so I think I'm safe. So here's the video. Here's a video of our enemies. Guys, these people are our life enemies. The same way the Nazi was the enemies of the 40s. The same way that the Ku Klux Klan and their supporters were the enemies of our ancestors. These people are our enemies for life. This is our greatest struggle. Look at these barbaric monsters.
Your John voice is going on.
So they were chanting death to Arabs. Meanwhile, no one in the corporate media is talking about the rise of Islamophobia, the anti-Palestinian racism, which is prevalent on both parties. The Democratic Party is infested with anti-Palestinian racists. Yeah, George. I'm mad. I'm sorry I didn't read most of the comments today. I've been stressed with them pulling my live streams. This is what rules you. This is what many Gen X and Boomer white people, they're 100% okay with these people being their masters. Tim Pool, 100% okay with these people being their master. Dave Rubin, all these people on the woke right, that is okay with these people being their master. So let me see how much time I got to cover this. Because I mentioned this in my, I don't know if it was in my stream that I pulled or earlier this stream. But there is a war among the right wing, and this is how much Israel fucked up. You had Douglas Morey. I didn't cover the Douglas Morey, but Douglas Morey debated Dave Smith or someone, and they've been fighting on the right wing about Israel. I never seen this coming, because the evangelical Christians and the Republicans, they were more than happy than being the subservient cucks to the Zionist God-chosen people. Remember, Charlie Kirk, a Christian Zionist, said that it is our job to honor the Jews. These people are heretics. You have Trump's spiritual advisor said that the only way that Christians can go to heaven is if they visit Israel and they support Israel. Let's see if I can find it. I had a tweet that went super viral while I called that out. You guys know they be popping on X, man. They be popping on X. Let me see if I can find it. I'm actually kind of curious. Did I show you guys that video? Oh damn! I just got an idea. I gotta show you guys that shit now. Well, I'll maybe get to it soon. Christian. Maybe if I search Christian Zionist. Christian, because I had a Christian Zionist. Fuck. I wish I can find it. This video was fucking funny. It was Trump face by. Either way, the point is, a video came out of Trump's Christian Zionist faith advisor saying that Christians must honor the Jews and they gotta support Israel, go to Israel to go to heaven. And bro, I have never seen like that amount of criticism against Trump by MAGA before. The whole Douglas Morey thing, who Trump later praised. There are many MAGA people who like follow me. I know I'm getting maybe a bad sample here. Many of them follow me, so I see them on the timeline. Many of them are starting to be done with Trump because they realize that he's controlled by the Zionist regime. Oh, you don't say. You mean the guy who gave away his daughter to a Zionist? The same way that Kamala Harris married Doug Emhoff. Kamala Harris married her AIPAC handler husband to show her loyalty to the Zionist regime. Donald Trump married her daughter off to a Zionist, Jared Kushner, dying with Zionists. So to me, it's weird that you guys are just understanding that Trump is a Zionist rat. But let me show you this video. I've had this up for a while. This person, Lizzie, she's actually part of the woke right, the right wing that actually don't believe in freedom of speech, the people who believe that we should crack down on college protests, crack down on the Hamas supporting left. And they're arguing, and it's hilarious, they're arguing about who is actually the woke right or not. Because you have the Zionists saying, oh my God, the people like Dave Smith, people like Candace Owens, they're actually the woke right because they actually care about children being bombed to death. If you actually care about children being bombed to death, you're woke. They don't even realize that they're the fucking woke right. They're the ones who are advocating for censorship because they feel like Jews are in danger because people are criticizing Israel. They play this video. It's a complete joke.
Hey guys, so I've been sitting with this for a while and I just need to say it. So we've spent so much time fighting anti-Semitism on the far left, which is incredibly obvious. We've seen this bleed into the Democratic Party like crazy.
So the woke right, who is what she actually is, she accused other people of being the woke right. She said that there is an anti-Semitism problem on the left because we don't want our taxpayer money going towards killing children. These are the people who claim that they are pro-life. The people who claim they are pro-life think that it's okay to murder children, cut them in half with their bombs, behead them with their bombs. I've seen a picture of a girl cut in half. Remember how the pro-life movement used to pretend they cared about kids? Meanwhile, they're cheering people bombing kids. Now the pro-life movement is telling you that you are woke. You are woke social justice warrior liberal if you don't support bombing kids.
We keep.
She complain about, she's like, oh my God, we spent all this time fighting anti-Semitism on the left. Now she's going to be upset because there are a lot of these people on the right that is starting to shift the narrative. This is why there is this panic, this increased level of censorship.
This bleed into the Democratic Party like crazy. We keep seeing the Democrats in Congress and in Senate consistently voting against Israel. But right now, the woke right is coming in hot. And look, guys, I back Trump. I am beyond grateful for the work that he is doing right now to finally enforce real consequences for anti-Semitism, pulling federal funding from these universities.
So she's advocating for censorship as she accused other people of being on the woke right. And guys, I can go through like so many videos of this civil war that's going on. This video just represents it in its purest form. There are people like Gad Saad, Jordan Peterson. They're having a complete meltdown. The Zionist right-wingers, they're having a meltdown because they are losing influence, something that I never thought I would see anytime soon. This is crazy. As someone who's been covering Israel-Palestine for a long time, seeing this schism on the right is extremely satisfying. Now, don't get twisted, though. I explained many times before that the people on the right who are correct about Israel, they are still Cenk Uygur-style sheepdogs, because that's the reason why I went after Dave, the comic motherfucker, the court jester. I went after Ian Carroll, because how can you be against Israel while supporting Donald Trump? So they believe that they have sway in the MAGA movement, but they are just now realizing that the people who actually have sway, the people who are actually in Donald Trump's ear, the people who actually represent the power structure within MAGA are actually the Ben Shapiro wing. She, the person we see in the video, they are the ones who have influence in MAGA. The idiots, the people like Dave Smith, the Ian Carrolls, the people who was critical of Israel but voted for Donald Trump, they was mistaken in believing that they had more influence than the Zionists. Not among the Republican Party, not among the power structure, but we are seeing them begin to capture more hearts and minds, which lead to meltdown videos like the ones we are seeing now.
Holding these terror supporters accountable. This is what we have waited for far too long, but we have Tucker Carlson, we have Joe Rogan, we have Candace Owens, these people that are loudly pushing these very dangerous narratives.
She mentions Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson has said he likes Israel. I'm not a fan. I think Tucker Carlson is weak on this issue. How many times, there's a video that I called him out for where he's playing. He's like, man, I actually love Israel. I think Israel's a beautiful country full of beautiful people. I just don't like Benjamin Netanyahu. He's weak as fuck on this issue. But because he will say something that's common sense, like, hey, man, as a Christian, I don't think we should be bombing other Christians. He don't even give a fuck about the majority of the Palestinians. Tucker Carlson makes it about a religious war. He's like, man, why are we funding these Jewish people to kill Christians? He's not even against the concept of an apartheid regime. The same with Candace Owens. Candace Owens, she's oh my God, why they're bombing Christians? They they raided the church, they bombed the church. They're upset that people are standing for what is really pro-life ideology. Hey man, how about no bombing kids? And you guys see the meltdown that the woke right, the real woke right is going through right now?
For far too long, but we have Tucker Carlson, we have Joe Rogan, we have Candace Owens, these people that are loudly pushing these very dangerous narratives like minimizing the threat of Iran, whitewashing Qatar, mocking Israel. I am not talking about just a few.
Downplaying the threat of Iran, mocking it, so you can't even mock them. If you have a joke that you say at an Israeli expense, you are now an agent of Hamas. You are now an anti-Semite if you mock them. If you don't support conflict with Iran, Do you guys see what these traitors are doing? These traitors, because this woman is clearly not going to fight that fucking war. So she wants Americans to fight and die for Israel. And anyone who advocates that Americans don't fight and die for Israel, they are anti-Semite according to these psychopaths. You guys are comfortable living with these people? Do people really think Zionism is just a side issue? These are psychopaths that are living among us. We see how serious these people are. Because apparently Candace Owens said she regretted her vote on Trump, which is good. But we see, man, because I bet you all these motherfuckers are going to support Ron DeSantis in the next election. Just watch. If you see through this shit and you still support any party that supports Zionism, you are useless. So we see the verdict is on them, but me and them support Trump, which is why I don't like him anyway. Should I watch the rest of this? It's almost done. Let's watch the rest of this.
One-off comments. This is a pattern. And these are people who have called out the squad for their radical ideologies, but now they are repeating some of the exact same anti-Semitic talking points. Suddenly, Iran's not a threat. Suddenly, Israel's the aggressor and Qatar's a partner. And who is always at the center of the blame? The Jews. And I know everyone always wants to believe that their side isn't the problem or that they are less of the problem, but this is exactly how we got here in the first place, with nearly 10,000 anti-Semitic incidents reported in this country last year. This is what anti-Semitism does. It shapeshifts, it adapts to fill whatever cracks it can find, and then it becomes normalized and it bleeds into the mainstream.
She is accusing other people of being the woke right. This is the same argument that pink-haired social justice warriors, the caricature that they used to mock regarding racism. She sounds like a fucking shitlib. There is no difference between her position and the position of Nancy Pelosi. And many people on the right are just now starting to realize this. You know the thing that we've been calling out on the RBN for years? The dummies on the right are just now realizing that the people that they side with, it's two sides of the same coin. Between Democrats and Republicans. I have said that from day one. Trump believes this shit too. Trump was going on about anti-Semitism. And she said like 10,000 anti-Semitism acts. Guys, they're not even trying to make this shit sound believable anymore. Here's the New York Post, a right-wing website. Let me zoom in. Right-wing media outlet. They're not even trying to make this shit sound believable anymore. American Jews face a record 25 anti-Semitic incidents per day, guys. 25 per day. That's 1 per hour. That's more than 1 per hour. This is what the liberal media is accepting as fact. You know, the people who are resisting Trump. I think like Morning Joe, Hakeem Jeffries, they all believe in this shit. The Trump resistance. Let me read that again. American Jews face a record 25 anti-Semitic incidents per day. I'm sorry. Really? They're not even trying to hide it. Like, they're not even pretending that this shit is fucking rational. Like, do you guys really fucking believe that? We can't even get footage of a mob of Palestinians attacking someone because they're Jewish. You know they never produced those videos. They have no physical evidence of any harassment, no Jewish people got any, like, there are no police reports of Jews. They have nothing. And they openly admit it. The ADL openly admits that the anti-Semitism hoax is a scam. Which is why I was explaining to my last guest I had a few weeks ago. I don't legitimize the anti-Semitism claim at all. It has always been a psyop. How many motherfucking people in your life have you ever seen that is actually like Eric Cartman? Like, South Park was written and approved by Zionists. Why do you guys think they created an Eric Cartman? You know, the guy who hated the Jews? They want you to convince that this shit was real. There's no one that is fucking walking around like Eric Cartman hating the goddamn Jews. I have never seen it in my life. And when I was younger, I allowed them to gaslight me. Like, oh, maybe there is some anti-Semitism. Maybe there is some people like Eric Cartman. In my life experience, and God, think about who I'm surrounded with. I am surrounded with people who support Hamas. I'm surrounded by people who are the most radical. I hosted multiple Palestinian roundtables. I am constantly around from the river to the sea type motherfuckers. I have never, ever seen anyone that like, I don't. The reason why I oppose Israel because I don't like the fucking Jews, man. No fucking noses. Fuck them Jews. No one ever did that. I'm 3 years old. Never seen it in my entire life. And at what point do we stop even fucking pussyfooting around with this nonsense where people will say, oh, technically I do believe there is some sort of anti-Semitism problem, but actually, no. They're bringing up Nick Fuentes and Nazis is a cheap trick. Motherfucker, Nick Fuentes and Nazis hate everybody. Like, have you seen what Nick Fuentes said about black people? So they'll point to Nick Fuentes and they'll point to Nazis who hate everybody. They hate Hindus, they hate Muslims, they hate anyone who is not white. They will look at Nazis and say, oh, see, isn't that evidence that anti-Semitism is real? No, it's not. They hate everybody. So after seeing the massive crackdown on freedom of speech, after seeing the deceitful nature of these Zionists, after seeing what they're doing, we shouldn't even be fucking legitimizing this bullshit. At all. At all. Which is why I don't. Because the ADL openly admits that this shit is a sham. The Anti-Defamation League says anger at Israel is now the driving force behind anti-Semitism. So you guys realize that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party in the corporate media, they use the Holocaust Remembrance Museum definition of anti-Semitism. They use the ADL's definition of anti-Semitism, which straight up says if you don't support the self-determination of the Jewish people to have a state that defends themselves, you are inherently anti-Semitic. That is what they, so why do people legitimize and say, oh, technically there is some Nick Fuentes says he doesn't even support Hamas. Nick Fuentes and these Nazis don't even support like a one-state solution. So they use them as evidence that this shit is real. There is no minority group, if you even want to call them that is least treaded on than the Jewish American. You know, the same Jewish Americans that is able, at a snap of a finger, get congressional bills passed, anti-Semitism resolutions. They will get all these benefits and protections from the government. And people want us to believe that there's some fucking harmed and aggrieved group. Can we stop playing around with this bullshit? Once again, every single number that everyone has quoted, use this. The ADL says the number of anti-Semitic incidents in the United States reached a record high, and knows that 58%, and I'm actually calling bullshit on that number. I think it's way higher. 58% of the 9,000 incidents related to Israel, notably chants, speeches, signs. So speeches, chants, signs, and rallies. So every single time that someone chanted to the river to the sea, free Palestine, that is enough for them to label that as an anti-Semitic incident. And you guys realize that people like Bernie Sanders is legitimizing this? That many people on the left are legitimate. Like, well, technically, I do admit that there's an anti-Semitism problem, but can we get real? They're literally just talking about the criticism of Israel. Here's another person on the woke right, and I'm actually surprised that he's not crying.
Semitic.
I swear to God, as someone who don't follow Jordan Peterson at all, Like 50% of the time I see this motherfucker speaking, he's crying. This motherfucker knows he's going to hell. Like, he always crying, he always getting emotional when he speaks, because he's a motherfucker who knows he sold his soul. And the fact that so many people listen to this motherfucker as some sort of life coach, just so how many, that shows why people in the West are absolutely cooked. The fact that this guy ever had legitimacy. This is the reason why you don't watch Joe. This is why Joe Rogan is trash. Joe Rogan is essentially the CIA podcast, the pro-Zionist podcast. The CIA, he literally bring on CIA people, State Department people. I remember when I watched in the early days of Joe Rogan, they used to just have martial artists on. They would have conspiracy theorists on. Now this motherfucker straight up bring on Mossad propagandists. He bring on people like Tim Kennedy, a former MMA fighter who explains how we should support genocide in Gaza. Like, Joe Rogan gives a platform for State Department propagandists to spread propaganda unchallenged. Have no idea what the fucking appeal to this shit is. But you guys see me rip Joe Rogan many times before. I'm not going to repeat that. But here's Jordan Peterson. Trust me, we are not going to watch this whole thing. I just want to show you guys just the beginning. I thought someone said, no, Peterson. No, we're not going to watch that much of it because I find him pretty insufferable too. I'm showing you guys this. I'll show you guys one video. I'm showing you guys this full-fledged civil war among the woke right versus the people on the right wing that are questioning Israel. So we're only going to watch a little bit of it, I promise.
And so this is like, I can really see this starting to happen on the right. Like, I've been tracking psychopathic behavior on the right for probably 4 years, something like that, especially on the anti-Semitic side, because that's really where it reared its head first. And
why is that?
There's nothing more annoying than a successful minority.
So Jordan Peterson's explanation of why people on the right wing is critical of Israel, sounding like a pink-haired social justice warrior caricature. They say the real reason why they're critical of Israel because they are jealous that the Jews are too successful. Here it is again. And listen to Joe Rogan. Listen to that idiot. Like, can you imagine if he said this shit on RBN how fast I would destroy him?
Especially on the anti-Semitic side, because that's really where it reared its head first. And
why is that?
There's nothing more annoying than a successful minority. Right. Now, that's part of it. I'm going to hear.
Like, can you imagine being such a dipshit that you actually think that he said some shit profound? That's cowardly behavior. People always say that, oh man, Joe Rogan is good. He can talk to people with different ideologies. I can too. I'm not a bullshitter, and I will push back on you if you say something that's clearly full of shit. Joe Rogan invites people on, doesn't challenge them because it's audience capture. It's a great strategy, and that's why he's the #1 podcaster on the planet. He invites people like Ben Shapiro on. Then he invites someone like Dr. Cornel West on. Don't challenge him. He adopts whatever. He's a chameleon. Whoever is in front of him, he adopts their ideology. Like, can you imagine? Like, Joe Rogan, he was one of the people who was criticizing the Hamas supporters on college campuses. He was talking to Ben Shapiro and some other right-wingers where he was criticizing the left as being anti-Semitic. We covered this as well. And he was explaining how college students are radical and anti-Semitic. He said, I gotta find this clip because I covered this on the show. He said, I can't believe all these college students are supporting Hamas. This is despite the fact that Joe Rogan has had on Abby Martin on multiple times. I am forgiving of people who are asleep and who are victims of propaganda, but I am not of the belief that people wake up and then change. You know what I mean? Like, Joe Rogan needs to be a Bernie supporting socialist light. He used to do rants about how he believed that homeless people shouldn't exist, how we should house people, how we should give people health care, how we should end wars. Guys, I used to listen to Rogan back in the day, back in my super martial art hippie days. Back when I was a young dude who used to train Muay Thai, smoke weed all day. That's what I used to do in my younger days. Listen to people like Joe Rogan and them. Like, the difference is so astounding, man. It's crazy that many people don't see it. He went from a hippie martial artist socialist who wanted healthcare to a MAGA supporting boomer that complained about wokeness. That's how you get the bag, baby. I'm not in the right grift. People say I'm a grifter. Not in the right grift, man. So a lot of people are impressed with Rogan and his ability to talk to people with different perspectives. I find it very cowardly. The same way I would get ate up. Can you guys imagine if I had like Cenk Uygur or any of these crazy right-wingers on and I was just nodding along with what he was saying? How much you guys would eat me fucking live? And I would deserve it. Imagine if I had Rokan on, because I had Rokan on and I destroyed him. You know what I mean? Can you imagine if I had Rokan on, if I was nodding my head like, yeah, man, I think you should take over the Democrat Party? That's what Joe Rogan does. He brings on these Zionist assholes. For every 9 Zionists on, he'll bring maybe one Max Blumenthal on. And then people are like, oh my God, Joe Rogan is so great. And then he will forget everything he learned. He'll forget everything he learned in the Max Blumenthal. He'll forget everything he learned in the Jimmy Dore episode. He'll forget everything he learned in the Abby Martin episode. Then talk to a Zionist asshole, and then he'll complain about how the left supported Hamas. So that's my takedown, my jealous takedown of the #1 podcaster in the world. The fact that he's the #1 podcaster is exactly why we're fucked. Should I watch more of this? I don't think so. But anyway, essentially this clip, to spare you guys, is Peterson complaining about the woke right. Now here's another fucking Hollywood slob. And this translates to our next story perfectly. This guy, Hollywood comedian, friend of Joe Rogan, he goes on this very passionate rant explaining why we shouldn't care about Jeffrey Epstein. So let's listen to just a little bit of this. And then I think this is going to get to our next story, because isn't it funny how all the people in Hollywood, all the Zionists, they want to convince you that Jeffrey Epstein is not that big of a deal. This guy, he's been in a few movies. I think I saw him in a Long Shot, a football movie. Big comedian. They all defenders of criminals and sex pests. Anyway, let's listen. I'm using this video essentially as a transition.
This is what the internet fucked us.
That's true.
This is why we have retards walking around believing everything, because I forgot what I was going to tell you.
The internet fucked us.
The internet fucked us. It's too.
The ability of workers to talk to each other is so horrible. So horrible that we don't have to fucking buy just a corporate narrative anymore. And guys, trust me, it gets way worse.
Too much information. It's like this. I was in the hospital, and I get on a fucking elevator, and there's 2, 3 doctors, you know, half of fags in my world, okay? And they're like, oh my God, we can't wait till the Kennedy report comes out. Well, how is it going to make a difference in your world? It's like these idiots with the Epstein list. How is it going to make a difference in your world if Tom Hanks is on that list?
I'll tell you.
Do you not have to go to work tomorrow? Do you have to do all the same shit? That shit doesn't matter to me. I don't give a fuck who's on the Epstein list. I don't.
Now do you guys see why this guy's able to get a job in Hollywood? I don't give a fuck about Epstein. Why should we care about outing people who fuck children, who engage in mass rape? Do you guys see how Hollywood is full of sex pests, criminals, degenerate, drug addicts? MAGA is now a movement that is saying that if you want to arrest pedophiles, you're now woke. We're now woke because we care about addressing the massive sex trafficking ring that exists in Hollywood and in our government. Jeffrey Epstein flown and hung out with presidents. Alan Dershowitz raped women and children, and he is given Fox News spots. He is given jobs among elite academia. Meanwhile, you're canceled forever if you support a free Palestine. Meanwhile, the motherfucker like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck we have an evil government? You guys see how the celebrity culture, and this is why I don't understand Joe Rogan for the life of me. You guys see how celebrity culture, they want to project nihilism on the working class. Why should we care about anything? And the only thing that should matter is fucking hustling, getting money, fucking bitches, doing drugs. That shit is not a fucking coincidence. Celebrities exist to promote nihilism. I don't want to get on the boomer fucking rant with you guys. But like Scarlet, what the fucking rapper chick? Sexy Red. Sexy Red, all these fucking consumerist rappers. Like hip hop is garbage. I don't listen to shit outside the 90s and early 2000s. It's all fucking trash. They're all mumble rappers who just promote nihilism, brainless consumerism. And they wonder why Americans have so much fucking depression, why so many people is on antidepressants. Because unfortunately, many Americans listen to these celebrity fucks because they like their art. A lot of these people are good at their art. They're idiot savants. And this is me being I'm being very charitable here. Because who am I to say people are not talented, right? Let me be charitable and say these people have a profound gift at their art. And I think it's worth supporting people if you like their art. But they will live their life based on what they say. This is what the culture that, and I know that Rogan promotes this, Joey Diaz supports this, and it is counter-revolutionary. This idea that you shouldn't care about stuff. Nick, why do you care about the kids in Gaza so much? Why do you care about the homeless so much? Don't you know you're only supposed to care about stuff once it happens to you? Once something happens to you, then you can care for it. Once you have medical bankruptcy, then you can care about healthcare. We are a sick society. I didn't mean go on this rant, but it's just like, just listen to this shit. It's fucking make my skin crawl, man. This is the number one. I'm not cherry picking, guys. This is the number one podcast in the world. And every time I see a clip of it, it's garbage. Like, I'm like, man, we are getting programmed. Americans are getting programmed by garbage, man.
Oh. It's like these idiots with the Epstein list. How is it going to make a difference in your world if Tom Hanks is on that list?
I'll tell you.
Do you not have to go to work tomorrow? Do you have to do all the same shit? That shit doesn't matter to me. I don't give a fuck who's on the Epstein list. I don't give a fuck who went to Diddy's house. It's got nothing to do with me.
They don't give a fuck about mass rape and sexual predators. This shit is disgusting. This is the number one podcast. This is Joe Rogan's good friend. And I understand to be a little bit, I understand you're trying to be funny, but it's not a coincidence that they promote this decadent behavior. This nihilism on the, listen to this shit again. I always seen this clip and I'm still flabbergasted by the moral depravity. And this is what it takes to make it, man. This guy's it doesn't matter if you find this guy funny, guys. You guys realize he's been a comedian for decades. He's been in movies. This is what it takes to be successful in the cesspool known as Hollywood.
Shit. That shit doesn't matter to me. I don't give a fuck who's on the Epstein list. I don't give a fuck who went to Diddy's house. It's got nothing to do with me. But in today's world, because of the internet, it makes us think it's got something to do with us. It has nothing to do with me, man.
It's a show. That's what it is.
What's the fucking show? I don't want to watch that show. So now I got to wait here 60 years. We've been watching the same footage.
That's see Joe Rogan, the cut, doesn't disagree. I agree with you, man. Why should we care? It's all a show. Life is a show. Why should we care about anything? Life is pointless. This nihilism, you will never see a communist like me repeat. They think I'm the radical. Being a communist, being class conscious is believing in the potential of humanity. We believe in the potential of the working class. We believe that humanity is destined to rise above the current status that we are now, the way that we rose from monkeys. We are the revolutionary optimists. We represent the best of humanity. You guys notice how capitalism and capitalists, they are doomers. They are doomsday preppers. They believe in the worst of humanity. This is the capitalist rot. And correct me if I'm wrong, I need to fact check myself on this, but I'm pretty sure Joey Diaz, because remember, I used to watch Joe Rogan like 10 years ago, a long, long time ago. I'm a different person now than I was back then. Joey Diaz is one of those Cuban Gasano motherfuckers. Like, oh my God, I hate Castro. He's extremely anti-communist. That's how you made it in Hollywood. If you're an anti-communist Cuban, you're good to go. I had to fact check myself, but I'm pretty sure that's what he is. He's one of those anti-communist Cubans mad because slave owners lost their plantations. You guys notice that the anti-communists always believe the least in humanity? They are the most nihilistic. They want, what is the point? What is the point? Let Diddy be Diddy. Let Diddy be Diddy. I see some people confirming I'm right. Yeah, he is. Which is why I know that many people who listen to me who don't. There are many people who don't like labels. You know what I mean? A lot of people who are uncomfortable calling themselves a communist, especially in a deeply anti-communist society. And if you actually disagree with labeling yourself, you gotta know I don't get upset with people who don't do that. You gotta know I have a lot of guests on who are not communists or not socialists. We're not the one who put these fucking ideological purist tests. It's only the capitalists who do that. The one line that I do draw unapologetically is that I don't associate, and I would never let people in my circles who are anti-communist. You a little bit scared to say you support unapologetically class war. That's okay. I understand why people don't like labels, guys. I get it. But being anti-communist, that's a bad thing. These are the people who believe that they have the right to overthrow the will of peoples, engage in regime change. Anti-communism is an ideology that led to the deaths of millions. It's an ideology that justified a sanctioned regime that terrorized the global south. It's the idea that everything is on the table to defeat the working class. And that is what people like Joey Diaz, these anti-communist Cubans, these Gasanos, that's what they all represent. That's why I usually draw a hard red line at that, which is why I explain many times I'm not a fan of Tucker Carlson, because he will betray us in the heartbeat whenever things get real in the class war. He's another rabid anti-communist. That is something that we should all draw the line at. You don't have to, if you don't believe my theory, if you think I'm getting I'm too much of a nerd when it comes to my economic theory, okay, as long as you agree with class struggle. But anti-communism is not where it's at, guys. I promise you. Please believe me on that. If you disagree with me, if you're to my right, and guys, I got a lot of MAGA people support me. It's crazy. But if you're on the right, if you don't want to call yourself communist, please just don't be an anti-communist. That's a barbaric ideology, which leads to shit like this. People not believing in the potential of humanity. The reason why they believe in capitalism because they believe that greed is inherently important for us to ascend as a society and as a species. It's an incoherent, toxic ideology, my friends. But you gotta see how I'm using this video to transition to Jeffrey Epstein. You gotta see how I'm doing it, right? I mean, we 90 minutes in. Technically, I've been doing this for like 2 hours. If you count the first 2 streams that they pulled. But you gotta know how Saturday is. I like to have a lot of guests all around the world on. We have people from China, the UK, Russia, Brazil. I'm blessed with RBN how we get to talk to so many different people around the world. But every once in a while, man, I gotta jump on here on a Saturday stream and just fucking rant. And I'm glad that we have 1,400 people watching on S and YouTube. Hope you guys enjoying the show. Please subscribe and share if you are. I'll rewind a little bit. I won't interrupt it anymore. I just think this rant, it says so much about the toxic, degenerate Hollywood culture, the nihilist ideology that they project on Americans. So I'll finish the clip uninterrupted, and I'm obviously using this. Actually, I'll start from the beginning. I won't interrupt it, so you guys get full context. I'm using this as a way to introduce Jeffrey Epstein because the media wants us to believe some stupid shit. And I gotta be careful with my wording because they might pull my channel if I cover the story how mainstream media is covering it. So I'm gonna be like a zoomer. I'm gonna take after my Gen Z friends, and I'm gonna explain how one of the Jeffrey Epstein accusers is being accused of unaliving herself. So I want to show you guys this clip all in context. It also gives me a chance to prepare the whole statement. So,
but this is what the internet fucked us.
That's true.
This is why we have retards walking around believing everything, because I forgot what I was going to tell you.
The internet fucked us.
The internet fucked us. It's too much information. It's like this. I was in the hospital and I get on a fucking elevator and there's 2, 3 doctors, half of fags in my world. Okay. And they're like, oh my God, we can't wait till the Kennedy report comes out. Well, how is it going to make a difference in your world? It's like these idiots with the Epstein list. How is it going to make a difference in your world if Tom Hanks is on that list?
I'll tell you.
Do you not have to go to work tomorrow? Do you have to do all the same shit? That shit doesn't matter to me. I don't give a fuck who's on the Epstein list. I don't give a fuck who went to Diddy's house. It's got nothing to do with me. But in today's world, because of the internet, it makes us think it's got something to do with us. It had nothing to do with me, man.
It's a show. That's what it is.
What's the fucking show? I don't want to watch that show. So now I got to wait here. 60 years we've been watching the same footage. He got hit. It clocked back.
Right.
You know, Lee Harvey out. But now we want to really fuck with these fucking peanut nimble-headed dummies that are, well, I want to see what's on there. Then 2 days later, the Jews did it. Yeah. Believe me. Just worry about paying your fucking credit card bill.
You see what it's about? You see how he's upset? Because people are blaming Israel for Epstein? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. You hear what he just said?
I want to really fuck with these fucking peanut nimble-headed dummies that are, well, I want to see what's on there. Then 2 days later, the Jews did it. Yeah.
It is common knowledge that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad asset. He literally was with Alan Dershowitz. You know, another Mossad asset who represented Israel on the world stage at the International Court of Justice. Alan Dershowitz was with Jeffrey Epstein. And you guys see how Joey Diaz is upset? Not at Jeffrey Epstein raping children. He's upset because people are making the connection between the Mossad, Epstein, and their sex slavery racket where they used to blackmail many people in the ruling class to support them. Dude, I'm sorry. I know I said I wasn't going to interrupt it, but that part was so good. I almost forgot about that part. I want to play that part again, and I'll finish it here. This video is something else, man. In a rational society, this should end a motherfucker's career. Like, in a rational society, this clip should be career ending. Meanwhile, this is just an ordinary Joe Rogan podcast. Just an average Joe Rogan clip. In a rational society, this motherfucker shouldn't find any work anymore for apologizing for sex criminals to protect Jewish pedophiles.
It clocked back.
Right.
You know, Lee Harvey out. But now we want to really fuck with these fucking peanut nimble-headed dummies that are, well, I want to see what's on there. Then 2 days later, the Jews did it. Yeah. Believe me. Just worry about paying your fucking credit card bills, you fucking idiot. That's what you should worry about. Did you see what happened this year in this country? Fucking millionaires are selling off fucking property before to pay taxes to get capital. Are you fucking kidding me? And people are worried about the fucking Epstein list. Like, how is it going to change your life who fucking Tom Hanks was fucking in the ass? Who does it matter? And do you really care? At the end of the day, do you really care about that 16-year-old girl? No, you don't. So shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Stop caring about stuff, guys. Being a being worker, shut the fuck up, stop thinking, and pay your credit card bill. That's what he said. Pay your credit card bill, pay the banks, pay the millionaire class, shut the fuck up and stop thinking. You fucking kids. These fucking woke kids and they're fucking thinking. They're fucking caring about stuff. Dude, that last part of the rant is crazy. He goes full-fledged boom right in. Like, he cranks it up to the 10. Look, the last 10 seconds is crazy.
Your life, who fucking Tom Hanks was fucking in the ass? Who does it matter? And do you really care? At the end of the day, do you really care about that 16-year-old girl? No, you don't.
Do you really care about a child being raped? This should be career ending. Meanwhile, this is just another day on the Joe Rogan podcast. Who cares that adults are raping children in a sex trafficking ring? Stop caring about stuff. Become a mindless worker. Pay your credit card bill. Get to work. You guys see why it's unbelievable to me when I see people praise Joe Rogan podcast? It's unbelievable. Shouldn't this be like a red line? Joe Rogan, who supported Trump, right? Donald Trump is protecting Jewish pedophiles. He is protecting a sex ring of the ruling class where they fuck children. Because they released the Epstein files and they still refuse to release the client list. So Jeffrey Epstein was found under our law as criminal as running a sex trafficking ring where they raped children. But what the establishment would have us believe is that he was selling children to nobody. Hey, don't you know that Jeffrey Epstein is guilty of being a mass rapist and sex trafficker? Who did he sell the children to? Nobody. Don't worry about that. Remember when Pam Bondi said that Epstein files was on her desk? Remember the MAGA influencers that said they was going to go through the Jeffrey Epstein files and nothing came of it? So if assuming, and I don't think these people are good faith, I explained to you guys how Joe Rogan knows exactly what he's doing. He is class conscious. So if you're someone who actually care and you was misled by Rogan when Rogan told you to vote for Donald Trump, shouldn't this be a deal breaker? The fact that your political movement is involved with protecting pedophiles? That Donald Trump, who is definitely an Epstein client, as everyone in the comments is reminding me, Trump was on the list. How are you guys okay with this? How are you guys okay with your country gaslighting you to the point where they're telling you someone who was not suicidal, almost said the S word. How should I say this? Because I don't want to get my YouTube stream pulled. The media will have you believe that this person is mentally ill and wanted to unalive herself, even though she had a message. This is the victim. How do you say her last name? Virginia. I don't know how to say that last name. Pronunciation. This is what I gotta do because I'm a fucking dumbass. Geoffrey? Do you guys hear that? The fuck? And they said we got ghetto ass names. Regina Godfrey? The fuck? I don't want to disrespect her, but Virginia, this is a picture of her when she was a sex traffic victim. And she has a tweet there where she says, I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist and my GP. What does that stand for? Anyone know what that GP stands for? I have made that known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me, and in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. Here's a bigger version of this of her message. Y'all see this? General practitioner. I see you guys. Thank you guys. Zoya's love, Zoya's life, as always. Much love to you, Zoya. I did a hotspot explain this. You guys know this is not new. Last year, Boeing murdered 2 whistleblowers. Not 1, 2. And many dummies in the media, they believe that 2 whistleblowers for Boeing just so happened in the middle of a giant event where they destroyed their lives, they quit their job, they went through this long legal process. Right when they was at the finish line, that's when they decided to commit suicide. Imagine how fucking stupid you have to be to believe that. And I have a testimony from one of Virginia's friends. And this is true of all whistleblowers. Imagine you're someone who put your neck out there. You sacrifice a lot of your time. You know you're going to be destroyed, but you did it because you want to reveal something. There's something that is so important for you to reveal to society that you want to upend your life. These are the people who I would argue would be the least suicidal in our society because they clearly have something to live for. Virginia clearly had to live for the fact that she get to see Jeffrey Epstein and his business partners be held accountable. And Nick Bryant explains this. This is why whenever you hear a whistleblower, whenever you hear a rape victim that will expose the oligarchy, whenever you hear that they want to kill themselves, that is bullshit. This is anecdotal. I'm feeling deeply saddened because Virginia died tonight, reportedly because she unalived herself. When I first met Virginia, she had acquired millions of dollars. So this person she got millions of dollars by litigating against ethical eunuchs, Ghislaine Maxwell and Prince Andrew. And she was impassioned about starting a large anti-trafficking NGO. So guys, despite the fact that she was a victim of sex trafficking, she's taken her trauma and she used that to give herself a purpose in life. What else is more powerful than that? Like, this is literally a hero who found what many people search for. And I struggled with this a lot in my earlier life, finding a meaning to my life. So her meaning to her life and something that she was impassioned about, according to this anecdotal report, after finding this meaning in life, she then became depressed. And then she decided to take her life before she can find and before she can end her work. If you believe this, you have subhuman level of intelligence. I cannot phrase it any way better than that. I'm sorry. You are subhuman if you have the intelligence to believe this. She hadn't wavered when she named a number of powerful men as her perpetrators. But in a strange twist, she eventually wavered on Alan Dershowitz, who had lied about his relationship with Epstein and all-around nasty piece of work. I personally think she was somehow leveraged to waver about her abuse at the hand of Dershowitz. Virginia started to detach from me and other Epstein victims after she hired New York publicist Denny Van Muffling. I was told by her second Epstein victim that Virginia referred to Von Muffling as her handler. I didn't read this whole thread. He explains her history. This is long. I don't want to go through this whole thread, but you guys, he explained in the beginning, like, she was very on, like, she was playing politics as well, but she had a strict goal that she wanted to accomplish. This is what makes this suicide extremely unbelievable. And regarding Alan Dershowitz, I want to show you guys this. This is the person who is still beloved by the establishment. Trump supporting sex traffickers.
Sometimes there were other people on the island that were important people. I saw Alan Dershowitz on the island. It was more of a business meeting another time. I saw Bill Clinton sitting with Jeffrey on the living room porch area, which was Jeffrey's favorite spot. I saw no other guests there at that time at all. I just said, hey, wow, Jeffrey sitting with Bill Clinton.
Meanwhile, Alan Dershowitz is still free because we are living in a society ran by genocidal criminals, sexual predators, and their enablers. People have no idea how evil the ruling class is, how violent they are. And I explained this before in my first stream. This story makes even less sense. And this is my boy Greg from Hotspot. This is the picture because apparently at the beginning of this year, Virginia was involved in an accident where she was hit by a bus. So that alone is very fucking suspicious. I'm not going to say anything about it because I ain't looked into it at all. But she was hit by a bus. Okay. She was given 4 days to live. But despite that, she was recovering and she was still alive weeks after she was initially giving a 4 days diagnosis. So, after her body was destroyed, after she went through many painful treatments, and then right as she was beginning to recover, after a devastating car accident, right as she was getting better, that is when she decided to take her life. Do you feel insulted yet? All right, maybe I should take this video. I see everyone in the chat. I see your story. Yeah, let me take this off. Everyone in the chat trying to help me keep my stream up. Let me put this article. Don't you feel insulted by this headline now? Because you guys see how every single corporate media headline is covering this story as fact. None of the journalists are interested about none of these inconsistencies. Where is the curiosity from Western journalists to question? Nope. They were just going to print the headline with no question that the Jeffrey Epstein accuser unalived herself. No critical thinking at all. Done here. You see the message that the criminal ruling class is sending us? So we're smart enough to understand that this is mind-numbingly dumb. And there's no way that anyone could believe the legitimacy of the story. I actually have, I don't know if I showed you guys, one of the receipts. Like, I'm seeing a lot of right-wingers. I think this guy's a right-winger. I see this guy. He's a big account, 1 million followers. Like, you see, I see there's a lot of these right-wingers tweeting about this. I saw Matt Gaetz. Do I have that? Oh, Jesus. I got so many receipts today. I can't find it. But Matt Gaetz tweeted about this. Actually, fucking, let's look at the trend tab. I'm gonna show you guys something. Because literally no one believes this. Like, this is not me being a crazy leftist. Like, I'm seeing establishment supporters. Yeah, I'm gonna show you the tab. Let's see what my timeline come up with. If you look at every single tweet on this timeline, look, there's not a single motherfucker alive that agree that Virginia killed herself. Look, everyone is sharing the fact that she wasn't suicidal. Here's another account. I don't know where he is. He follows me, funny enough. I can literally show you. No one believes this story at all. But don't you guys understand that that's the point, right? I'm trying to scroll. I can't find. I wish I could find a Matt Gaetz tweet. There are so many establishment Republicans that was like, "What?" Americans are like, "What?" Because they thought that America was different. They thought that they had Americans. They didn't realize that their ruling class was the gangsters that they projected upon Russia and China. They wouldn't even believe that Russia was like disappear anyone critical of the government and they would just kill people. No, that's us. That's us, boy. That's us, homie. That was Boeing is doing. People don't understand how evil our capitalist class is. They're willing to execute and murder anyone that is willing to fly too close to the sun. And I have done hotspot videos on this last year. I mentioned this earlier before. Let me see if I can find my other one. There's one of them. Yeah, you had John Barnett. I might have this as my outro. Because you guys see, I'm always in the lab cooking. Last year, they had 2 whistleblowers kill themselves in a span of 2 months. Which one the latest one? Actually, I'll show you guys this one first. Let's watch this one. And I want you to understand that what they did to Virginia is standard protocol. So this is a hotspot video I made last year about how Boeing was murdering, executing.
A Boeing whistleblower was found dead in an apparent suicide in a hotel parking lot. John Barnett was a quality manager for Boeing for 32 years, and he was giving a series of interviews where he was exposing Boeing for violating safety regulations for profit. One of the things that John Barnett exposed is how Boeing would take defective parts and then recycle them on new planes in order to prevent production delays and reduce production costs. So essentially, Boeing was building planes out of trash. Ever since he retired in 2017, John Barnett has been trying to get his safety concerns out there. So the corporate media and the police would have us believe right when his story is about to get out there, right when Boeing is about to be held accountable, now that his testimony is more important than ever, that's when he commits suicide? Why wouldn't he wait until after the interviews are done instead of committing suicide in the middle of the case?
You guys see the stories they tell you? So this guy went through all the work, and this was like a 2-year process. And right when he was finally about to give his that's when he commits suicide? You guys see how they repeat the same bullshit, the same with Virginia. Right when the Epstein list is released, right when you guys have massive public support, that's when you decide to unalive yourself? Let me continue the video.
The police investigating this story are apparently the least curious motherfuckers ever.
I'm sorry, let me emphasize that point again. How are they coming to the conclusion that it's a suicide? They never explain in these videos. They never explain this. If you're going to rule that a whistleblower committing suicide, the onus is on you to prove it. Like you need to explain your methodology. How do you come to the conclusion that it was a suicide? These police officers are not curious at all. Isn't that interesting? How the investigators not like, hold up. This is not making sense. The same with Epstein, where he was in suicide watch, so he had paper clothes on. He was in a room that was too short to hang yourself in. And the security cameras went down at the time where he killed himself. And not anyone who was investigating that, none of the police officers, none of the media had any curiosity to ask what the hell is going on. Do anyone believe that? It's a power move, guys. It's not supposed to be believable. I'll continue that point as I finish the video.
Apparently the least curious motherfuckers ever. They said he killed himself in a hotel parking lot. Why not kill yourself in the hotel? It may be just me, but a hotel parking lot seems like a place you would die if you are being targeted by an assassin, especially an assassin who knows exactly where you are staying. And I'm not kidding here. We need the police to come out and explain in great detail how they knew that this was a self-inflicted wound. Because this story is obviously fucking shady. But I need you to understand, the criminals in our ruling class understands this. These stories are meant to send a chilling message to future whistleblowers that they can and they will kill you. They will get away with it, and then they will slander your name by saying you committed suicide.
You guys see how I've been making these points for years now? I've been explaining how, like, everyone on Twitter, like, can't believe they really want us to believe this. That's not what this is about, boo-boo. It has nothing to do with you believing them or not. If you are dumb enough, as I explained earlier in the stream, if you lack the curiosity, like the police officers, like every single person in the media who's not shadow banned like I am, if you're willing to swallow the official narrative, if you don't have the critical thinking skills to understand that any of these stories are shady, you're not a threat to them in the first place. If you legitimately believe this. So it's a cryptic message. So if you are smart enough to realize, like, oh, holy shit, I think they just killed this motherfucker. This story that they're telling us makes no sense. It's a message, a cryptic message to the ruling class directly to you that they will kill you. And then they will smear your mental health. They will smear you as suicidal. Then people will say stuff like, man, I thought Nick was happy. Nick always seemed so joyful in front of me. He was always smiling and laughing. It's crazy. The police said he killed himself. We never ever saw that coming. And now for the rest of your family's life, they got to be questioning themselves like, oh my God, why did Nick kill himself? Did we do something wrong? What is this? Is something that I did wrong? Oh my God, I wish I could have told him I love him. You guys see what they're willing to do? Not only will they kill you, they will smear your reputation for the rest of your life as someone who committed suicide, as someone who took the easy way out, as someone who had mental health issues because you decided to stand with the establishment. As I said before, many Americans are having a hard time wrapping their mind around how evil our ruling class is. So this is the second video where I cover another Boeing whistleblower, and this is going to be my outro video. We can end it with this outro video. Actually, let me read super chats before I forget. I'm sorry if you left super chats on the first stream that got pulled, but let me read the super chat and I'll play the video because I want to play both of my old hotspot videos because you guys realize that they killed both of these motherfuckers. The first video I made in March. Then I made another video in May. They killed 2 whistleblowers in the same damn year, right as the cases against Boeing were escalating. Meanwhile, people in the media are like, oh my God, isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy how all these whistleblowers commit suicide? Huh, it's pretty strange. Pretty strange. We need to do a better job protecting them. We need to make sure they don't do that. Oh my God, it's kind of strange. They are supposed to fucking believe this shit. No one should ever believe these damn stories. The media, like, oh my God, isn't it crazy? We can't say it, right? Maybe they Boeing do something. No, you're not allowed to say that, man. It's kind of crazy, man. I remember watching the coverage of this and watching how the media, they were not allowed to say what I am saying on this stream. They would just allow. The best thing you would get was, isn't it kind of strange that all these whistleblowers are dying? Why do you think that is? I don't know. They want you dumb and afraid. So let me read super chats. And then in this video, I'll play this on my intro on my way out. Thank you, Mark. I showed this earlier. He was one of the few that saw the live stream earlier. I'm glad we got through this. Hope it don't get pulled later. Thank you, $5. Funny how so many suddenly forgot to protect their Second Amendment rights from a tyrannical government. Very well said, Dwayne. Thank you, Janice, for the 499. Arabic is one of the most widely spoken Semitic languages. Anti-Arabic sentiments is anti-Semitism. Absolutely well said. There's so many different layers to why the anti-Semitism thing is bullshit. I actually didn't even touch on that. That's another great way to shut down the bullshit, because Palestinians are Semitic people. And it's interesting because many Israelis like Benjamin Netanyahu are Polish. So they're not even Semitic. Many Israelis are European. There's a reason why they banned DNA tests in Israel. So isn't it weird that people who are European, I'm not saying they're not Arab Israelis and Arab Jews in the Middle East, but there are many of them who are European. So isn't it strange that Polish, European, and hell, many white Americans have the nerve to call actual Semitic people, the Palestinians, anti-Semitic? Once again, there's so many different layers that even in the rent stream, I can't cover all of it. So thank you, Janice. Thank you for the 499 and K. The way these Zionists are allowed by police to push and kick this woman while in their custody shows a double standard perfectly. Once again, another great point. You got in the RBN, we got a base community. I didn't get a chance because I was ranting. I was discombobulated because my first 2 strings were pulled. I didn't make that point as well, but you guys see how the cops like half-heartedly protected her? Like they was assaulting her on camera, kicking her. The police allowed it to happen. No one's going to do any think pieces about the violent Zionist mobs, right? Oh, Jesus. Almost done here. This was a 2-hour stream. Pretty much, it was essentially a 2.5-hour stream if you count the 2 streams I didn't count. Thanks for the $5. They're literally deporting U.S. citizens now. Fam, it is beyond time for all of us to revolt. Where's my pitchfork and guillotine? Unfortunately, the liberal class and Americans who lack revolutionary discipline have armed the police state to the teeth. The militarization of the police force in my lifetime is insane to witness. because the capitalist class in the United States, unfortunately, have been 2 to 3 steps ahead of the working class. So they fear-monger and they use the culture war to get people afraid of immigrants, to be afraid of crime. You had no local news report that will constantly report on people being murdered. They got the American populace nice and afraid. So they was able to expand their police force and militarize it to the point where the NYPD has a larger police budget than many countries do military budget. The LAPD literally outarms most militaries in the world. So I am a Marxist that believes in armed struggle and armed revolution. But the ruling class militarized our country to the point where we are far away from that. Why do you guys think I'm an abolitionist? Why do you guys think I'm funding 10 demands? You cannot be a revolutionary while arming the capitalist class to the teeth, which is why we are not going to have any revolution. We are not going to have any revolt until we dismantle the police state. We have to fight and get our civil liberties back. We have to disarm the police. We have to disarm the military. And we are generations behind because of the counter-revolutionary behavior of Americans. It's sad to see, but we have a long way to go. That's why I'm an advocate of mutual aid. Because right now we need to focus on reprogramming the American working class who embrace the police state, who embrace individualism. We need to show them that we are there for them, and we need to provide material support to the working class as things continue to get dire, because we are not ready for an armed revolution yet, unfortunately. So we need to engage in mutual aid. We need to provide in self-governance. Well, we need to have our own self-operated mutual aid societies, form our own government, form our own third parties. Then we will start the militarization of the working class, arming our brothers and sisters, having martial art training, while at the same time providing maximum pressure on the police state and the Zionist military state to dismantle. Which is why I am willing to work with libertarians and many people who are against the police state and against the Zionist regime. Because I think the number one thing that we have to do is dismantle the Zionist military-industrial complex in order to pave way for armed struggle. So even though libertarians and many of these people are class enemies of ours, they play the role of a useful idiot for us, where they will help us dismantle the power of the state that we will later need done in order to provide a revolution, which is why I'm more willing to work. When people are like, why are you down with talking to Jimmy Dore? Why are you okay with American Communist Party? Because they agree in dismantling the police state. So even though Jimmy's not a communist, even though a lot of these libertarians are not communists, you guys understand that in our historical perspective that we are right now, our best chance at revolution is to dismantle the police state. And we must ally with people who want to do that. Then we figure everything out first. Because this is a great super chat because it provoked this rant. But we are so far away from armed struggle. It's painful. And we need many and this is okay. Like this is what we need to understand, that this is okay. If people are willing to play the role of class struggle, let them play the role with us. If they agree with class struggle, it doesn't matter what they actually call themselves. It doesn't matter when they actually call themselves a communist if they're engaged in class struggle. Many people on the right agree with unions and unionizing, which is a socialist principle. So many people agree with unions. They agree with challenging the capitalist class. We need to cultivate a movement with these people. We need to build a movement that is for the workers with these people while dismantling the two-party duopoly, the police state and Zionist regime, which is why those are usually my red flags if you support those things, because you are obstacle. That's why I don't work with people like Candace Owens who support the police state. Because if you support the police state, you support Blue Lives Matter, you're an obstacle towards revolution, because the police will always side with the ruling class when things get squirrely. So thank you for joining my TED Talk. and I had to throw in some revolutionary theory. I need to start doing more of that. But I've been thinking a lot about how to overthrow the current system, because I believe that the NATO Zionist fascist regime is unlike any government, it's unlike any ruling class that anyone ever had to deal with. There have been many successful revolutions. The Bolsheviks were successful, the Cubans were successful, but what they went up against was nothing compared to the NATO alliance, compared to the Henry Kissinger trained oligarchy that learned from the mistake of previous revolutions. They learned from the mistake that previous governments have made, and they learned to squash revolutions more efficiently. They learned that they had to militarize themselves. They learned they had to roll back habeas corpus and many rights that they gave us before. We have never went up against a more well-organized ruling class and a more violent ruling class. That's why we need to start thinking outside the box. This is why theory is good, and they want to learn theory, but we shouldn't be, and this is I would love to hear someone who disagree with me, but I don't think we should be obsessed, and I gotta be very careful how I say this. We shouldn't be completely obsessed with every revolutionary of the past, because what we are dealing with right now, and I don't know if I'm saying this probably the best way, is unlike anything we ever seen before. That's why we need to think outside the box, learn from revolutionary theory, and also apply modern revolutionary strategies to what we're dealing with right now, which means coming up with new theory as well. Anyway, that's my last thing I want to end this stream with some revolutionary talk. Thank y'all for watching this long ass live stream. Holy shit, 2 fucking hours. Everyone talking about this poll. I don't see the poll. I think Zoya added it. What the fuck is the poll? I can't see it. Dude, this live. Big shout out to Zoya, who help me out on RBN. She like my booker, my therapist, my researcher. Zoya's love, Zoya's life. What doesn't she do? Apparently, I can't see it. Maybe I'll pull it up on my browser. There's Zoya with the text. Tell you guys, man, what would I do without Zoya? So she put up a post that, do you support Hamas? And RBN being base as always. 86% of RBN is base. 86% of the RBN community support Hamas. I'm so proud of you guys. Like, I'm fucking so happy, so proud. At least I know the RBN community is well informed, has a revolutionary theory on their side. 10% say they're not sure, which is fair. Like, I understand not everyone is well read on the issues. And 3% say I support ineffective resistance. So there was 3% of the people watching the stream was member of the professional managerial class, and they were just fucking seething. They're fucking seething. You gotta know the professional managerial class on the left, they fucking hate my guts. So there's like 3% of people watching shit just fucking seething. Now fuck Hamas, nigga. Fuck audit. Fuck you. Fuck third party. Vote Democrat. Fuck Hamas. Fuck resistance. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna end this video with this with my other hotspot. I did play 4 hotspots today, but you guys know I got a lot of my library when it comes to hotspots is crazy. So I'll show the first video of the Boeing person killing himself. This is the other person who they also say killed, unalived himself. And I'm showing this, and I connected these 2 stories because I want you to understand that what's happening with Virginia, the EPSTEIN Accuser, who they said unalived herself, this is common tactics by the capitalist class to let you know what they're capable of. So there'll be our outro video showing you another example of what the ruling class is capable of. I think it was a good showing on this stream, especially considering the first 2 streams got taken down. YouTube been having us throttled as well. So I think it was a pretty good stream. 1,600 people watching at the end here between X and YouTube. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Let's end it on this video. Have a good weekend, guys.
Joshua Dean, another Boeing whistleblower, is now dead. Joshua Dean was a quality auditor at Boeing, and he testified at a lawsuit last year that Boeing was actively ignoring defects. Apparently, Joshua Dean passed away because he caught a sudden illness which quickly turned into an infection which caused him to pass away. How convenient for Boeing, huh? This is the second Boeing whistleblower who died in 3 months, and watch the corporate media not be curious about this fact at all. Joshua Dean was only 45, and his neighbors and family said he was reportedly in really good health. But this person got sick and died suddenly. Then we have John Barnett, a whistleblower who explained how Boeing used recycled trash and defective parts, who was found dead in an apparent suicide. And once again, this is despite families and friends saying that there was no signs of John Barnett being suicidal. And also, why would he kill himself right before he was set to testify when he was trying to get his story out for years? Like, these stories don't even make sense at face value, but they're not supposed to. These stories sound ridiculous and implausible, but the campus class is filled with criminals that is sending a message that if you blow the whistle on them, they will have you killed, and they don't even have to make up a convincing story to get away with it.